understand it, that understand what it takes to keep a patient, and you know, and they'll tell you. And retention's a funny number, because what happens is when you first start out, your retention sucks. But you've been in practice for a while. All of a sudden, the guys that, you know, account number 43 comes back in 4 years later in a PI, or account number 69 comes back in, or 235. You know, and so, you know, you build up some really neat retention that way.
With my practice, I've been at the same level for about 8 years, and to me, I feel comfortable with that. So my question would be, how do I raise the bar and say double where I am right now, and still have that same sense of being calm and balanced and focused, but still seeing twice as many people, because I tend to get to a certain point, and it kind of goes out of my comfort zone, where I feel like I'm getting too busy or feel like I'm getting unbalanced. But I know there's guys that see 3 times as many people as I do, and they seem to have all that balanced.
I guess the biggest thing is to decide, you know what, this is not my comfort zone anymore. I'm tired of this volume. You know, I want to move on, and I guess that's the biggest thing. We've hit those plateaus too, where you know, stuck on a certain number, and it's easy to sit back and say, well, you know, hey, I'm making good money, I'm seeing, you know, more than 80% of the chiros out there. But then, you know, when you step back and look at it, you just have to decide, you know what, I want to see more. Set that goal and just say that's where I'm going.
You know, it's going to be uncomfortable. I guess that's why they call it a comfort zone, and to expand it the first weeks, months, or whatever of reaching a higher volume, it's going to be hard and uncomfortable, and then it'll naturally become your new level. But also, to reach a new goal, at least for me, I think you have to aim past that goal. There has to be aim past the target in order to hit that goal. Otherwise, you want to pull back.
You're always going to go to the comfort level. And so when you ask, I'm comfortable, if you're comfortable, have you noticed you have a certain level of comfort? Who's decided this level? Well, it's decided through this fear factor. Now, the fear factor, everybody's interested in the physical manifestation. But at the highest level of anything you do in your life, sports, the symphony, the orchestra, academics, the difference is not the physical, it's the intangibles. It's the mental aspect. And so if you have a fear at 100 to get busier, to serve more patients, what's got to happen? Well, simple. You've got to work on the tissue aspect. What? The science of expression. And I was explaining this to a patient, that they're dealing in the expression. You remember how we say, cancel, 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 delete, delete, delete. At what level? At the thought level. Before there can be a manifestation, there must be a thought. There has to be I changed these around, but on the afferent pathway that goes into the thalamus, that affects the hypothalamus, this is all part of the training. You've got to deny the fear of rejection, the fear of worry, the fear of ridicule, the fear of criticism. What other fears are there? The fear of doubt, the fear of lack. Those are all intangibles. So let's have a look at when we delete it here in the conscious mind, which is the thalamus, on the sensory plane. You're creating this what? This mentality, the intangibles which are on the mental plane. The question is always, how do I go to the next level but stay the same? You can't. Get it? You have to grow. You've got to learn to grow. And so the intangibles, Vince Lombardi, I'll cover him at the end. But the first thing is to impress through the conscious power of suggestion, through the conscious mind. You impress it from the thalamus into the hypothalamus, the subconscious. You impress it. You train your mind here in the physical realm into the mental realm. And so the mental realm is effort. How much effort are you going to put in? That's on the mental realm. Dedication. How dedicated are you? Determination. These are the qualities in your life, which is your practice. You know, I've heard so many times, don't take it, it's just a business, don't take it seriously. You aren't your practice, you are. It's business, it's personal. Get some rejection, get some criticism, get some ridicule. Oh, your practice just dropped 20% in collections. How does that affect your home income? Somebody who gets a steady check, it doesn't affect them as much as it affects us. Even though we may make more, our drops are also important. Now, the intangible qualities are all on the sensory pathway. The NFL, the New York Symphony, they can all play the violin. What's the difference? The difference is in these mental qualities. Mental conditioning, concentration, focus.
How did you get to the place where you're at now? How were you able to build that practice, seeing those numbers, and how did you maintain your enthusiasm and excitement over all those years?
The thing that Fred taught me from day one is it's a process. It's a daily process, and you have to decide what you want and set the goals for yourself and understand it's a process. And I think being an athlete sometimes kind of helped me with that, because it's the same thing whether you're developing a skill in athletics or developing anything in your life. You have to go at it understanding that it's going to take time. It doesn't happen overnight. When I first started here, I was seeing 90 patients a week about, and I had been in practice for 3 years. So, and I'd been to other trainings where they had manuals and you'd turn to page 25 and this is how you shake hands and this is how you do all of those things, and realized that I was never going to get anywhere doing those things. But I think after coming to Fred and after being coached by him and going through the process, I realized that you stay excited by getting up every morning and know there's an end to that journey. There's something you're going towards for your family, for yourself, for anything you have, and being challenged. And that's one of the things that I enjoy, is the challenge of going towards 1,000 patient visits a week. That was the big focus when we first started with Fred. Everybody wanted to get to 1,000 patients a week, and I would see the other people that did it and understand that, well, if they can do it, I certainly can do it, and I just went with that attitude kind of. And it's the consistent training is as much important. I came here, this is my 13th year down here, and up to this past year, I had maybe missed 2 trainings during that first 12 years. So I came every month. Fred used to call me at 4 o'clock in the morning twice a week, but all that stuff motivated me to know that I had somewhere to go, and it's not a straight curve upwards. I mean, the toughest level I was ever at was 300 patients a week. I didn't think I'd ever see 400 patients a week. But you know, you get up to 4, you get up to 5, you get up to 6, and then you go back down a little bit, and then you go up a little bit higher, and it's not a straight journey upwards for certain. It's a learning curve as much as anything else, and you learn the steps, and you learn the focus that you have, and you learn the skills necessary. The adjusting part's easy. It's learning to deal with the patients, learning to know that you can see that many patients, because when you're in school and someone tells you see 100 patients during a day, you're thinking, oh, there's not a chance in the world I can see 100 patients during a day. It seems impossible. But once you see that 100 patients in a day, and then you see that 150 patients in a day, and then you'll see the 200 patients in a day, and figure out you're no busier at 200 patients a day than you were when you were seeing 50 patients a day. It's just how you manage your time. And when guys are only seeing those smaller numbers of patients, a lot of their day is spent wasting time. It's not spent adjusting patients, because realistically, an adjustment doesn't take very long to give. And when you think about it in that terms, and you have a family of 5 people in a room, and you can get those 5 people adjusted in a minute and a half, 2 minutes time, you can see a lot of patients during a day doing that. So you just learn as you go, and it's not